A warm greeting. Today is Friday, September 29, 2023. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it's 6:30 in the evening, local time in the northeast of the Caribbean, where we continue to closely monitor the evolution of Tropical Storm Philippe. In this visible satellite animation, we can see Tropical Storm Philippe and also the circulation of Tropical Storm Rina. These two cyclones are currently undergoing a binary interaction, known as the Fujiwara effect. Because of this, it is forecasted that Tropical Storm Rina will continue its path to the northwest, while Tropical Storm Philippe is expected to move slowly southwest over the next 3 days before making a turn to the northwest-north. At the moment, it appears that Philippe will remain just east of the Lesser Antilles. However, some models, like the European model, show the possibility of it getting closer to the Lesser Antilles Islands. Interests in the islands north of the Lesser Antilles should continue to closely monitor the evolution of Tropical Storm Philippe. Throughout the day, we observed that the circulation centers of both systems remain displaced to the west and northwest of the strongest thunderstorm activity. Both disturbances continue to be disorganized due to strong shear winds affecting them from the west-northwest. In the afternoon today, a Hurricane Hunter aircraft investigated the circulation of Tropical Storm Philippe and confirmed that the strongest winds are located to the southeast of the circulation. As long as this shear wind persists over this tropical cyclone, significant strengthening is unlikely. However, as it moves southwest, shear winds may decrease slightly over the weekend. Some models even show the possibility of it becoming a strong tropical storm or hurricane when it moves northward starting on Sunday or Monday. In the infrared satellite image, we can see that the strongest area of thunderstorms remains displaced to the southwest. In fact, the mid-level circulation in the atmosphere is located in this area, so it continues to be disorganized. Today, we've seen some shifts in the track towards the west, but it is still projected to pass to the east and northeast of the Lesser Antilles. Some European models have a slightly more westward track than the American models in the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center. There is a possibility that it could approach the islands of Antigua and Barbuda between Sunday and Tuesday of next week. Generally, most models predict a sharp northward turn. At the moment, it appears that the circulation center will not reach the northeastern Caribbean region. An important factor mentioned by the National Hurricane Center is that the further west the circulation center of Tropical Storm Philippe travels, the stronger the shear winds will affect the circulation. A path closer to the Caribbean likely means a weaker system. Meanwhile, models with a northward track to the right of these tracks are the ones that predict it could become a hurricane in 3 to 4 days. This can be seen in this chart, where some models strengthen it to a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane over the next 2 to 3 days. Notice that it is precisely these models that have a northward track well away from the Caribbean. Meanwhile, intensity-focused models that keep it as a weak tropical storm are the ones with a more westward track. Later, I'll discuss the potential effects on some islands north of the Lesser Antilles. In the 5 p.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, there were slight changes in the track forecast. It is expected to maintain a southwestward trajectory over the next 2 days. Then, on Sunday, it should start turning northward, moving away from the Caribbean region. At the moment, the cone of uncertainty is quite far from the Caribbean area. At least in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, Tropical Storm Philippe is currently not a threat, and the chances of it reaching this area are extremely low at the moment. However, some islands north of the Lesser Antilles should remain vigilant regarding the evolution of Tropical Storm Philippe. Let's look at the latest projections from global models. Here we have the GFS model, and you can see that it forecasts this binary interaction and the Fujiwara effect. The GFS model consistently predicts that it will maintain a track well to the north, passing at a safe distance from the Caribbean without affecting the local region. On the other hand, the European model forecast also shows a binary interaction and the Fujiwara effect. However, the afternoon run today brings the circulation of Tropical Storm Philippe dangerously close to the islands of Antigua and Barbuda on Tuesday afternoon. This is why it's important for residents of the northern Lesser Antilles to continue monitoring the storm's progress. In fact, the recent trend in the European model runs is to have a track closer to the Lesser Antilles, and although this forecast differs from the GFS model and the National Hurricane Center's projection, it's a trend we will be closely watching, especially in tonight's runs and from other models, in case they agree on a northeastward track for the storm. For example, the German model has the circulation center passing about 250 miles northeast of the Lesser Antilles on Monday afternoon. The UK model has a northeastward track passing 200 miles northeast of the Lesser Antilles. When we look at different possible scenarios based on the ensemble projections of the GFS model, you can see that all of them keep the circulation center of Tropical Storm Philippe far from the Caribbean region. It's precisely the ensemble members that keep it on a more westward track that show the possibility of a weak tropical storm due to shear winds. Meanwhile, if it stays more to the east and moves northward, that's where it could potentially strengthen into a strong tropical storm or hurricane by early next week. In general, the ensemble projections of the European model also align with this idea. Some of them have a more westward track approaching the northern Lesser Antilles but with a much weaker system. Those that follow a track similar to what the National Hurricane Center and the American models indicate have a stronger system, potentially reaching Category 1 status between Monday and Tuesday. For our followers in the northern Lesser Antilles, what would happen if it takes a more westward track? In this case, some areas could receive rainfall accumulations of 3 to 5 inches, especially between the islands of Guadeloupe, Montserrat, Antigua, and Barbuda, and St. Kitts. This is equivalent to 100 to 150 millimeters from Sunday until Tuesday of next week. In terms of wind, the winds of tropical storm force under the scenario shown by the European model would remain over the Atlantic waters, perhaps with some gusts of 25 to 35 miles per hour. Overall, the outlook remains favorable for the Eastern Caribbean since Tropical Storm Philippe is expected to stay to the east and northeast of the region. However, it's important for residents of the northern Lesser Antilles to continue monitoring its progress in case the European model's projection comes to fruition. Well, that's all for this forecast update. Tomorrow, on Saturday morning, I will provide another update to discuss any changes we observe in the projections. I hope everyone has an excellent night.